just to quickly introduce our speakers here today. So first off, we have Ian Elliott, who is consultant and vice president and sales and marketing. At, a lot of hats at
A lot of
Travel
titles
Only.
there.
Yes, he's a good man for this webinar. Lots of different things. And then Keisha Adriano, who is CEO at TravelWise International. And then we have Stephen Gold, who is founder of Travel Advisor Resource Center, which you might know as TARC, but also an agent himself. Do lots of hats again. Lots. I think all of you, yes, all of you have so many different hats. So it's where it's going to be really awesome. Lots of good ideas and tips in here. But before I start throwing some questions at you all, I do just want to give a quick overview. So what we're going to discuss during this is marketing. I mean, we could be here for hours upon hours. So we tried to whittle it down into some high level topics and questions. So we're going to talk about just obviously, how do you get started with marketing? There's a lot you can do, a lot of different roads you can take, but how can you get started? And then we're going to talk about, one of those important things is defining your goals and your audience, and then implementing that marketing strategy. And then we want to talk about also some social media, online presence, email marketing ideas and tips, and then time for a Q&A. So I'm really going to try extremely hard to make sure we have time for a Q&A. So please do put your questions in that question box in there or in the question panel. And then we will be gathering those so that way I can ask those to all of our panel here today. But okay, so I'm going to stop sharing here really quick so that way I can make our faces bigger there. So first what I'm going to do, so I am going to ask some questions. I'm going to pick on each of you in a good way, pick on in a very good way. But feel free though to all of you chime in at any point if there's anything you want to mention. So, okay, here we go. You guys ready? It's going to be
Let's
do it.
Let's go.
All right. Okay. So the first thing is getting started. So, okay. So high level question here is, what is the first thing new travel advisors should consider when it comes to marketing? And Ian, I'm going to start with you there.
Okay. Well, first of all, Stephanie, you are amazing, by the way. Your energy is so positive. You are the best. Anyone that knows you do a great job. So I just wanted to just quickly say that I see it all. It's coming from the chats already. So congrats to you. You do an amazing job. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Too kind.
And I just wanted to say also that congratulations to everyone that's been on these webinars and is on it right now, because honestly, you have joined the most exciting, amazing industry on the planet. And even in the last 2 years, we probably would have still said that, but for sure now it's a lot more the case, because, when you do what we do, we like to say we're dream makers, because every day we are out there, and who gets to do that? You get to help people plan and travel to the places that they have always been dreaming about. So it's really, really cool. It definitely is a lot of work. And so when you're talking about trying to think about getting started, sometimes it can be overwhelming, but at our agency, we just try and just break it up into little sections, and really the first section that we always talk about with our agents is define who you want to sell to. We can't sell to everyone. And sometimes who you want to sell to is not who's already in your network. I think when you first start in the industry, and Keisha and Stephen will probably say the same thing, you think about your family and friends, your close network, but depending on what you want to do as an advisor, that may not be your ideal client, right? And so we have our advisors write on a piece of paper what we call personas, and it's just basically a client profile. Write down who are the people that you want to sell to, and it might be people that like a certain type of vacation. It might be individuals from a certain demographic. It might be individuals that perhaps like certain types of communication styles. So write out who that ideal person is, and that's going to help you get started in that first little, that first step of creating a marketing plan, because that's really the most important thing, figuring out who your audience is. And then from there, all the other things kind of fall into place.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's a great intro into just high level marketing. And one thing that's really interesting is, Keisha, I know you've helped to onboard lots of new ICs lately. And so what are you seeing is the most important first steps that they're taking and what has made it successful for them?
Oh, first of all, thank you, Stephanie, for having me, and Travify. Congratulations to all the new advisors. So this is a very big topic, and the kind of I'm going to kind of piggyback off what Ian says, but something we always teach is know who you are, right? So when you market something, you want to be able to communicate whatever it is you are. And we always call it, we use core values. So whether you want to be known for dependability, accountability, frugality, fun, generosity, whatever it is, figure out 3 core values that you can share to all your clients, to anybody that you're promoting to. And once you do that, it's easier to start or begin your personal branding or finding your brand identity. Some examples of personal branding, and I actually have, I would say, probably 5 components in this category of getting started in your marketing, right? So the first one is know who you are, but some people, when you think of personal branding, you think of Oprah, you think of Leonardo DiCaprio, LeBron James. All of these examples have consistency in their personal brand, which is their name. So if you want to leave a lasting impression, you must first know what impression you would like to leave. So what are these values that you're communicating? I would say a second component that we always teach is, what do you represent on a larger scale? This is exactly what Ian was saying is what do you represent, as in, do you represent a country? Do you represent a culture? Is it an emotion that you're trying to have someone feel? A special getaway? It could be success. So more examples of this is, some people represent global wine tours, culinary experiences, academics, music, families. What is it that you offer? This can be a product. It can be a feeling. It can be a niche. Number 3 would be, who would you like to help? And understanding your ideal client, or what we call an avatar. So this is where you can get real specific with demographics, psychographics, your target niche, figuring out who your audience is. Who is going to buy what you offer. So some examples of this is, for all my friends say they're foodies, but I don't know how many would actually purchase a culinary experience, right? A culinary tour. When would they actually buy that from me? I'm not sure. So figuring out your audience or your ideal client can be done in 2 ways. You can find your niche based on the market or audience you already hold, or you can attract an audience based on your niche. So the key component to marketing is resonating with a specific group or demographic. A target audience will help you focus your marketing efforts on the people most likely to be interested in your product. So hang in there for me. So I'm on number 3. Number 4, who you want to work with. Now, we concentrate so much on clients that I want to emphasize the importance of partnership. Get to know your travel partners, your BDMs, your sales directors, their systems, their timeliness, their responsiveness, their support. Also, from these relationships with your partners, you will begin to improve your own responsiveness, professionalism, even notice the importance of individuality. So I always use this example, the mass emails, which are great and easy, but how much sweeter does it feel when someone reaches out to you personally and asks you what you need to succeed? So Stephanie, I'm going to use you as an example. Travify, extremely helpful in responsiveness. Travify is a newer product that I've watched develop over the last couple of years. And I mentioned this to Stephanie yesterday. What I've noticed is that they listen to their users and what they need. So it's the personal touch, it's the smaller things that take the time to tailor to you, to what you need as either an agent or a client. So knowing and trusting who you work with will benefit both you and the clients. Okay, so we're number 4, last one, why? What is your why? Simon Sinek's golden circle theory, right? What is your purpose? So if you can answer, what are your core values? What exactly do you represent? Who is your ideal client? And who you're partnering with? You should be able to figure out your purpose. This is your message, your identity. All these components together come to create your brand identity. And this is what leaves that lasting impression and makes you memorable. So I'm going to leave you with this. All right. So I'm a female. I love to shop. What is the difference between Target and Gucci products? So everyone shops at Target, right? Who doesn't shop at Target, right? But do you celebrate going to Target? Now, how would you feel if you were dressed from head to toe in Gucci, right? Handbag, everything. Gucci has created the look, the smell, and the feel of luxury. Gucci evokes an emotion that can transform the consumer's behavior and their attitude just by their name. So I'll leave you with this. If you take the time to create marketing that triggers an emotion, it will allow you to be an emotional stakeholder in the mind of the consumer. So now I'm sorry, Stephanie, that's I was trying to fit it all in. But if you understand how to create your brand identity, now you're ready to begin a marketing plan.
I love that. Yes, that is such a good way to explain. I love that. Really cool. And Stephen, I'm going to go to you now because I know that you started too. Was it Destination or no, it was like Honeymoon Romance Travel, your business that you first started, correct? And
Yeah, I
so,
actually started in all of that and kind of
yeah,
grew from there. And actually, again, to echo the two of these two, I mean, it's an amazing platform. And I do have to give every single one of you advisors kudos for actually showing up, because it really does show that you are taking a step in the right direction for your own business.
mhm.
And very similar to both Ian and Keisha, honestly, is we actually kind of find that persona, but we kind of take it a little bit step further. And we actually get a little cheesy over here and we try to name that avatar and that persona. So we might have Cruiser Kathy or Golfer Glenn or Safari Steve. And what that does is it gives you a persona to think about. So you're not just thinking about, okay, is my client going to be shopping at Gucci or whatever? You actually start thinking, when I'm looking for this exact client, would Steve or would Kathy or would so on and so forth be in this environment? If they're not going to be there, what the heck are you doing trying to market there? And we actually kind of tell all of our agents to really sell from your passion, because when you sell from your passion and you market from your passion, it comes across so much easier. If you absolutely hate cruising and you look at it as some floating boat that has nothing to do with any kind of happiness or excitement, don't sell it, because your clients will absolutely feel that too. Now, if you love cruising because it's your favorite niche and you can jump on any cruise ship any day and find fun on board, that is going to resonate really well in your marketing plans and with your clients as well. And the reason that I bring that up is because we recently onboarded a new agent to our agency. And while we were going through the biography, we sit down and we really tell them to think about their customer service experiences, and also think of themselves as a consumer. And while they're building out that kind of persona for their consumer, also think about what speaks to them. And we had one agent that wrote about a page and a half with an amazing biography. But the sad truth is, it was just, I like this, and it just very much fell flat. And we said, you know what, we need to dig a little bit deeper. So my vice president and I sat down, we were like, what sparks you every time you talk about this specific thing in your life? Which for her, it was trains. Every time she talked about trains, she would light up. Her family had a background in trains. She enjoyed trains. She's never been on a cruise before or anything. So while she was trying to find that cruise market, we were like, why don't you look into rail travel? Why don't you look into trains a little bit more? And you could see she was like, oh, I met my husband through this. I've been in my whole family for this, and so on and so forth. And we're like, that right there, that passion, you're never going to find just because you want to try selling a different market. Now, when you go on that cruise ship or you go to that all-inclusive or something like that, when you have that passion and it speaks to you so heavily, it's going to be that much easier to market to. But you need to be able to sell based on your passion as well.
Yeah, that has been a common theme on all these webinars. Is it always is coming back to that, not necessarily niche, but kind of the niche is, what are those passions, and finding that and fine tuning it, and then deciding what your person looks like. Random question though for all of you is there a good resources out there that can kind of help point you in the right direction of building that like avatar? Or I mean, I'm sure there is if Google, but do you know of any off the top of your head?
If you just Google marketing personas, you'll find tons of information on it. We're all on the same page because I think this is what we do for a living. So it's something that we know works. So I think that's what I would do anyway. I don't know a specific resource, but that's what I would do.
Mm-hmm. And how many would you say someone should have? Like how many different types of personas or avatars?
I say it kind of falls into what you're looking to do for your business. I think if you have 10 different niche markets, it's going to be difficult to really narrow yourself down. But if you have one or two, maybe a primary and a secondary, that's usually what we tend to tell our agents. Now, that being said, if you've been in the business for 5 or 10 years and you're going to be niching from one niche to another over that 10-year period, like what you were saying, I started out in honeymoons and destination weddings, and then that turned into a totally different niche market and more luxury and groups and whatnot. I didn't forget my personas or who they were back in the honeymoon destination wedding world, but I can't target that if I'm trying to change my entire niche. So I would say for me personally, I like one primary and one secondary.
I would agree with Stephen or both of them. Yes. Starting out, if we are talking about a new advisor, just pick one. It is overwhelming, and there's so much content. There's so many ways that you can promote to people. To really understand what you want to do and who you want to market to, just choose one. And you can start with the niche, and you can either do it forward or backwards. Have a niche and find the audience, or have the audience and find the niche. But yeah, keep it simple, because especially starting out, there's just like webinars, right? When you go to pick what webinar you want to go to or what you want to sell, you attend webinars all day, every day, but you can't sell everything. So just if I leave anything, just focus on one thing at the beginning, and it will evolve. You will figure out if you love it or you hate it, and another opportunity will come from that.
Yeah. And Stephanie, I think that I think one common mistake that we see with our advisors when they're building their personas is they often just focus completely on what that person wants to buy. But but one of the things you should also think about is how does this person want to be communicated with? What type of service are they looking for? Not everyone wants a concierge VIP service. So you may, and it may not match with who you are. So I'll give you a quick example. I like to communicate by email. I am not a phone talker. And so my clientele probably aren't the same type of clientele that Stephen started with, like destination weddings, because brides and grooms want to have that consultative discussion. They want to spend some time on the phone with you. Whereas my clients might be more corporate, a little more transactional. So you should really take some time to be understanding how you like to be communicated with and how you want to communicate with your clients. And that might help. So it's not just about what they want to buy, but really overall, and you really have to spend some time in figuring out all those different components of what that persona is going to be.
I love that, Ian. I'm going to piggyback on that, because we've been open for 34 years. So we have clients that are now 70 or 80. Their grandchildren buy from us, their children buy from us. And so those 70 and 80-year-olds, they're not computer savvy. So we're still doing physical documents. I've met somebody in person last week to give her document. So again, understand your audience and what they need, so you can better serve them.
That is
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what someone, Jeanette said, yes, I hate talking on the phone. Not
Very
alone.
Jeanette.
That is, yeah, I know. Sir, like, I know that is, I actually never thought of that. That's such a good point, though, of like, you think of, what do they want to buy? What do these people want to buy? But it's also like, well, what are their things? How do they want to interact with you? Like, how much do they need to interact? Things like that. So many questions. So I love this. I think that's so cool. So now what I want to do is move on to, so now let's say you have defined your audience, or who you want to sell to in the meantime, because I also like, Keisha, how you said it can evolve. I think that's really important too, to mention, like, this could evolve. You might find your passion elsewhere as you get going. But how do you start finding those people? So Stephen, one thing that I want to start with you here, because one thing that's really cool is when we were chatting, you were just talking about the community aspect of how you found all of your clients. So can you share more on just how you found your clients at the beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll kind of tie into the question that Karen's asking about, where do you find Safari Steve and where is he hanging out and all that kind of stuff. It circles back to kind of what Keisha was saying, is reach out to your BDMs. If you're looking to niche down in safaris, you should reach out to your local safari companies, whether it's a DMC, tour operator, whoever your preferreds are, because they have been doing this for many, many, many years. And you should build that relationship and have that discussion and say, hey, listen, I really want to sell your product. I just genuinely don't know where to begin. And they will say, listen, most of our agents are finding them in ABC, DEF, GHI, so on and so forth. And they will give you those ideas. So for me, because I was in the destination wedding and honeymoon business, I actually believe very strongly in business to business partnerships. So what that meant for me is pull out my local directories, find the bridal boutiques where brides are going to be buying their dresses, find the hair salons and the nail salons, because that is exactly where the brides are hanging out. And if not them, it's going to be the bachelorette parties, or it's going to be the maid of honor, or whoever it is that I need to get in front of is going to all of those kinds of places. And so I start going to those kind of other stores locally, and I say, hey, listen, I'm a local business. You're a local business. Let's partner up on either a local event or some sort of giveaways or something like that we can work together, maybe even bring in that supplier partner that you're looking to work with. And then you're literally tapping into somebody else's extensive database that has been there for many, many years. That's something that you as a new advisor may not have access to. So that's what really worked well for me.
That's really cool. And feel free again, anyone to jump in too. But another one, just kind of on the community aspect, or just finding those people reaching out. So on the last webinar, they were just talking about, you going to your local chapter meetings for the businesses, your lunches, the breakfast, the entrepreneur, local people, just getting involved in networking in your own community and finding that. But one thing that's really cool is, Keisha, will you share the story of with your Facebook group that kind of it was like kind of an accidental community that you built that's really helped your business?
Yes. So pandemic wise, and before I get into that, because that's a story that I know, but so I don't forget this. I met a colleague the other day, and it was a great story because and it's not my own story, but she was friends with a lot of winemakers, and she loved wine tours. And so she hooked up with Emma Waterways, and she now brings, for the free, she would invite the winemaker and he can sell his wine for the tour. And now he promotes groups through his wine. And I thought that was a wonderful story and a great niche. But anyways, back to me. That was
So
way better
cool.
than my story. No, I'm just kidding. No. So during the pandemic, of course, we did not have a strong social media presence. So we were really into email marketing. Of course, we realized the shift in consumer media access, and it was social media. So what we did is we started with, I'm trying to think, a Facebook, or I think this is kind of a long story. So let me go back to the beginning. You got me in the middle of it. It's okay. So our bread and butter was email marketing. After March 2020, we began to do the consumer shift to video content. We started with TravelWise Talks. That's what it was. That's what we originally called it. Sorry, there's been quite the evolution. So it started as TravelWise Talks, where we interviewed industry executives. We transformed this to real-time public service advisories of the Philippine travel requirements. So we have a very large Philippine following. So we would do real-time announcements anytime the travel requirements would change, which is very frequent. This evolved into our award-winning travel podcast, Smart People Travel Wise, that has been going up for 2 years now. And through this momentum of social media, we've received a major achievements, spinoffs, awards, recognitions, job opportunities, etc. But then and we called it, so it was so large that we started creating a balikbayan group, which means it's Filipinos who naturally resided or originally resided in the Philippines, and they moved to the US. So we created Balikbayan Group, and it has now turned into Filipinos helping Filipinos travel. And we have, I believe, almost 2,000 followers, but we would go in and we would do Facebook Lives, doing these live public advisories, and people began to follow and started asking questions. And now it's grown into such a community that people are helping other people. And it's been quite the success story, because not only are people still helping each other and we still have them, but it's just got where we've a podcast. We've even now been able to give our travel agents opportunities to promote themselves on this podcast. So it kept evolving.
That's really cool. I just love that. I just love when one thing turns into another, and it's super successful. So really cool. And Ian, is there anything we haven't covered? Well, I know this, again, we could talk about this for hours, but anything really big that we haven't covered when trying to reach those, once you've defined who you want and trying to reach those people?
Yeah, I think Keisha and Steven did a fantastic job of explaining kind of what the main areas would be, trying to find those Pied Pipers or the people that understand that market the best, because you don't have to be the expert, of course. You can find those people in your community, within your network. But I would say the third thing that I would do is, again, talking about perhaps safaris, which is not my area of specialty, but if I wanted to do that, I would reach out to my preferred partners and I would say, hey, where are these clientele coming from? What is a similar characteristic for this clientele? Can you help me find clients that would normally take these types of trips? Because these supplier partners, most of them belong to very large organizations with much stronger marketing budgets and research firms behind them. So they're going to be able to tell you. So if you need some real expert assistance on trying to find those individuals, I would reach out to them and they may be able to put you in touch with someone that's in your area or a community leader. And one of the things that I will always stress with our advisors is lean on your supplier partners. They want to help you, because when you succeed, they succeed. So just make sure you have those connections at your fingertips. And I'm sure your agency owners and managers will have that information.
Yeah,
And
that's
Stephanie,
a good point.
not to cut in here, but kind
No,
of
go
jumping
for it.
back onto what Keisha was saying too, with your local community. So I live here in the Clearwater, Florida area, and we have so many like mini metropolises, whether it's Clearwater, St. Pete, Tampa, so on and so forth. Each of those cities also has a Facebook group. Like we have I Love St. Pete with thousands and thousands and thousands of members in there. And that's something where if you can get in there and you can start looking like the expert and you can start finding those clients because they're like, hey, every single day I need a travel agent, I need a realtor, I need a roofer, I need this. There's always somebody needing something. And if you can start diving in there and being that name that's always being recognized locally, it's a great way to get into your community without having to actually walk into a networking meeting too.
I love that, Stephen. I'm gonna piggyback off that because I know another colleague who we in our area, it's called DMV. DMV does, and so it's a local Facebook group. And what he started doing is he noticing, and we promote this too, any Facebook group, but he specifically went in there, and now he actually plans all group travel for the owner of that Facebook group. So she promotes it and she's a lead. She gets all the frees and then they promote that. And I thought it was a wonderful idea. Facebook groups are phenomenal. Not only can you try, one tip I always say, don't be salesy. But when you hear somebody say, hey, I'm looking to travel, I want to go here, I want to go here, start asking them questions or say, oh, or start promoting maybe when you're traveling. Insert yourself in a way that it's not salesy, but come with me, the come with me trip, right? The come with me itinerary, and start building it that way. And then once you start meeting people and you have clients who are within that group, then they'll start promoting it for you. And then that evolves into a community where everybody's relying on you for all the travel advice.
Yeah, and I'll tell you too, one way that you guys can get started if you guys haven't already done this is go into those groups, find other local professionals, like I said, a realtor, a roofer, an insurance person, all this stuff, and create a little tight-knit community within the community so that when somebody says, hey, I need a travel agent, not only are you diving in, but you can reach out to your little community and say, hey, can you guys go tag me? Because now you guys are starting to build that whole referral partnership within the community itself.
Yeah, I would even say in-person events. Any entrepreneur networking event, attend. We always tell all our advisors, if you have anything locally, just go. Have your business cards ready, your QR code, whatever we do now, right? Have it ready, talk about travel, ask them what they do, get their card, and then start talking on ways that you can partner.
Yeah, this is, like we said at the start, this is the most exciting industry to be in. Everyone loves to talk about travel. So if you're new to travel, if you ever are scared of small talk, you can just talk about travel on and on and on, and people will listen and they'll have questions and they'll probably ask you for advice down the road. And one thing that Keisha was mentioning, which was, social media and talking about when you're traveling, that's another way to get clients. And I think, again, most of us post-pandemic that have been traveling have probably found that a lot of our friends and family and other people that might be on our networks that normally perhaps did not use a travel advisor are now reaching out saying, you know what, I'm really not sure what's going on. Can you help me? The value of a travel advisor has never been more appreciated since the pandemic. So make sure that you're using social media. We'll probably talk about this in a second. I'm probably jumping the gun here, but I think something that people ask a lot about is how should I advertise on social media? Don't advertise. Talk about your travel, talk about you. People want to buy from you. So a lot of times people will say, well, do I set up a Facebook or Instagram that's very corporate looking? I would say pretty much never, unless you really are focused on the corporate market. You want to talk about you, do your Facebook lives, your Instagram lives, your TikToks with you in it, because people want to see you. They want to see you traveling, and because they're going to want to have that conversation and feel safe and secure booking with you or your agency. So that's my recommendation.
Love it. Man, you all are the best because it's just flowing. That's exactly, yeah, social media stuff. It's amazing. I love all of this, just finding those people, building those connections. But one thing that I definitely want to do, and then I'm gonna get into some of the Q&A. So thank you everyone for all these good Q&As coming in. But what are some ways? So you were saying, okay, so to show your online presence or social media, because we were talking about the webinar before this, social media is free to use. And so it's really amazing how a lot of the success stories that we were hearing were that, especially during the pandemic, that people were getting out there and they were still helping to keep up to date on, and it still is very helpful right now because there's still regulations, things that you have to know, and you need to go to a travel advisor to get that information and, their expertise. But what are some of your favorite ways? And I'm just going to throw it out there for anyone to answer this of just to show online presence, or do you have any cool stories that you've done or if you've seen other advisors do that's worked really well for them? Just either, whether it's social media, online presence, email marketing, which I know that's a big,
I can
very
start
wide,
on
but
this. Something that
yeah.
only because we became very heavy on social media. I'm sure everyone has. One thing that we always tell our agents, if they really want to start, because a lot of you are new, and so are some of our agents, we always say start off with Facebook. Facebook is, I feel like everybody at one point in time is on Facebook for whatever way or form. I check out if you Google me, Facebook me, whatever it is, I have a checkout. I have a Facebook banner. I'm sorry, guys. I've had too much coffee.
At the end of the day, it's okay.
I've had too much coffee, but I have a Facebook banner, which is now my digital billboard. That's my first tip. Number two, make sure your profile picture is professional. You always want to look professional. Before you even think about Facebook ads, you need to know who your audience is on social media. We do Facebook ads, but that's because we know exactly who our avatar is, who we're marketing to. So how do you figure out who your audience is? Post daily. In a variety of content will keep you relevant. And the reason why you do a variety of content, you're going to figure out or analyze what sticks by responsiveness, by engagement, and then you will get to learn, or then you will learn what your current audience is attracted to. So based on engagement, you can identify whether you have an audience or messaging problem. Now, do you have the audience for what you're offering, or is the messaging unclear? Now, this is a whole new lecture that we could talk about, but what you need to learn from this is just throw marketing out there to see what sticks. I'm a fan of Facebook stories. I love them. Why? Because you can see the viewers. You can see the reach, who you're talking to, who you're speaking to. So are they liking it? Are they following? Do you see the repetitive viewers? That's what you're watching for. And so you throw things on like Greece photos, then you do culinary videos, and then you do Disney trips. And whatever it is that people are more likely to keep watching is what your audience is. And sometimes you don't have the audience, and that's okay. There are different ways that you can do that. But again, I won't go into that. But just as a beginner, the first thing you should understand is who you're speaking to and whether or not you're promoting to the people who are going to listen.
I like that.
Definitely. And I would say too, kind of circling back around with what Jen's question is here. She said, what social media platforms should we focus on? I do agree with Keisha that Facebook is definitely kind of the overarching, easier one to just jump on if you're not familiar. However, I do have to say that we usually tell our agents to focus on the one that genuinely works best for them. I have one agent on my team that loves living on Instagram, barely touches Facebook, wants nothing to do with Facebook. I'm not going to drag him over and be like, figure out Facebook, you need to learn this kind of thing. If Instagram works, you have the engagement, you have the reach, you know how to hashtag, your reels and everything else are working on there, go nuts. As long as it's working for you over there. Don't try to recreate the wheel and whatnot. However, with that being said, I will also say on the Facebook side, I do feel like there's a little bit more ability that you can do there, because you can do what Keisha was saying and create a group. You can invite people to join your group versus them trying to always find you. And we all know that with the latest algorithms with Facebook and everything, Facebook pages don't get as much visibility as your personal profile or your group does. And so if you can have some sort of correlation between the two, or the three really, I think that would be kind of your best marketing strategy.
That's great. I love Facebook groups. Those come up a lot too. And it's because you can just create your own Facebook group. And I know that actually I'm going to throw this question because this came in on the last one was, do any of you have a preference over Facebook groups versus having a Facebook page, or both?
Again, I kind of say both. The reason for that is because I feel like a Facebook page is pretty much what people have a website for nowadays. It is to show relevancy. It's to find you. They want to come see what's going on with you. Your group is really creating that community, targeting the right demographics, doing all that kind of stuff. So I know one lady here in the Tampa Bay area, she's got 5,000 plus people in her group, and all she does is just throw out cruise deals every single day. And people eat that stuff up because there is a huge market for that. That's not my marketing strategy or my type of clientele, but it absolutely works for the community that she's built. And so that's where I feel like when you have a group, you can lock it up a little bit. You can really engage people a little bit more in a group than you can on a page. At least that's from my experience. Maybe Keisha and Ian have a little bit different experience with pages versus groups.
I would say our Facebook page is more for our clients and people that are already, we already have them as clients, and our groups are how we pull people in.
Yeah, I think that I completely agree with both of you guys. I think the only thing that I would say, I think Steven mentioned, is that when someone is looking up your business, they're going to see if you have a Facebook page. They're going to want to see if you have reviews. They're going to see if you've been posting. If you have a Facebook page that you haven't posted to in a year, I'll tell you right now, people are going to think that your agency is no longer in business. You're not selling travel. You have to post daily. I think Keisha mentioned that as well. I don't do it all the time. I try to. I know we all are probably we probably give the advice, but we don't follow our own advice, but we should be posting every single day on at least one platform. And then like both of them were saying, at the end of the day, the free service that the social media platforms provide are great. But to really mine leads and to really grow your business, you do have to invest in marketing. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but there is power in the marketing with both Facebook and Instagram ads and boosts, but you have to understand them. And so Keisha mentioned as well, you have to make sure that you understand who your demographics are going to be, because you're going to build those demographics. And as much as Instagram and Facebook say they understand their smart audiences, you probably have a better understanding if you put the time in. So that would just be my other recommendation is, yeah, you're going to have to pay for some marketing. It doesn't take a lot, but you will see the results and you get more analytics out of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Stephanie, I will kind of, Terry actually just posted something that I was actually going to circle back around to. There is a company called Branch Up that a lot of the suppliers out there pay into Branch Up, have their own marketing and everything that automatically launches onto your Facebook page. What I feel about it personally is it does not speak to your personal branding, which what we're talking about is if you click through the suppliers and they're just posting randomly, it does keep your page active. So if that is your goal, to just keep something posted on your page, Branch Up is great. If you're looking to actually cultivate your own brand, actually speak to your clients and all that stuff, a system and a software like Branch Up doesn't know who you are and it doesn't know your business either. They are literally just posting whatever the suppliers have on there. So I know a lot of people that use it in collaboration with their own posts just to make sure their page is frequently updated if they can only update once or twice a week. But just be cognizant of that it is pulling away from your brand and who you are when you have an auto poster out there.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Yeah, it should be one tool, right, Steve? Not your main tool for everything. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's really great. And there's a question here that just came in that's really good for this, really timely is, Robin asked, should a Facebook group be my business in its entirety, or should I have numerous based on the destination or niche? So this is actually a really good one, because especially if you're entering the industry and you're trying to find what you want or where you want to focus, what do you all think about that? Would you want one group or multiple?
Well, Facebook groups are not easy. So I would say one.
Okay.
I would be specific again. If you're only focusing on one niche and you have your one avatar, then it should be easy to have one Facebook group. That is just in the title, make it trendy, make it something that something that people will look up, have that there's a word for it. One of you guys might know it. When you can look up, you can look up the word and I can't think of it, guys. It'll come back to me. Wait. There's a way when you look up Facebook groups, there's a way to, it's almost like a hashtag, like you hashtag solo travelers. And when you hashtag solo travelers, groups would come up that are based on solo travelers.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cool.
And I agree with Keisha. You guys, if you're coming onto this webinar, the chances are you guys are brand new in the marketing realm, is the reality here. When you guys have been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, I do know some agencies that do work in multiple niches, and they do have multiple groups that they have one person only dedicated to keeping up with those groups, because like Keisha said, it's a lot of work, guys. If you want to focus on the Maldives and that's the only destination you want to do, make your group about the Maldives. You should not be talking about the Caribbean. You should not be talking about Europe, none of that stuff. If later you want to develop those groups, that is a possibility for your agency. But like Keisha was also saying, when it comes to titles, my agency is Gould's Travel. If I have Gould's Travel as my group, chances are 98% of the population has no idea who I am and will never find me based on that name. But if I'm dedicated my group to cruises and all-inclusive cruisers or luxury cruisers or something like that, that is something that people are going to search for on Facebook. So now your group is actually going to pop up. So that's what she's saying, be unique in your name, know who you're trending for, and make sure that is actually titled in there.
No, that's really important. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Did I cut? Just make sure you didn't have. Cool. I love the Facebook groups is really exciting. We see a lot of that travel big time. So that's cool. I've totally seen that before. You can just type in a keyword or Italy or whatever it might be and just find a bunch of stuff. So really, really awesome stuff on that. One question that I have, this is kind of a looking into the crystal ball type thing, is do any of you see any particular trends emerging in the marketing space or social media that you're seeing travel advisors do, or what you think might be coming?
The only thing that I was just going to say is you mentioned branch up. I mean, there's a lot of technology companies that are trying to find ways to help make the experience for advisors better, either make you more efficient, help you be more productive, maybe get better analytics. I think that you have to do your due diligence and check them out, because I think, unfortunately, they're also trying to make money as well. And so there are really great features within the native applications of Facebook and Instagram that you can do a lot just from there. My advice is for a new advisor is just use those platforms as they are, and then try some of the free features out. Don't go investing all this money in all these other tools until you really have that solid base, because a rule of thumb in marketing is 2 to 5% of your revenues you would reinvest in marketing, maybe more when you're first starting out, especially in the service industry, maybe 5 to 10, but it takes a while to build up your business. I think there's very few people that start in the travel business and they have, $1 million sales their first year. It takes time. So you have to be careful about budgeting, which goes with marketing. So I would just say be a little bit cautious about that, because that is a trend that I'm seeing. Every day I'm seeing a new thing pop up on Google or my social media about, here's something we can do for travel advisors, created content. I see all this all the time. We can create content for you, 50 posts per month, et cetera, et cetera. Just be cautious of that, because it's probably not going to fit your brand, as Stephen said.
I would agree also. Something that you should know when you first enter the industry is that you're probably not going to end up selling what you start. So your niche is going to grow, it's going to expand, it's going to evolve. So a lot of people start in the all-inclusive market, for instance, but then once they start in the all-inclusive market, they get the opportunity to go on a different fam, whether it be Europe, whether it be cruises and land. And so it expands. So if I have any advice, it would be, don't invest in anything early, try organically, try to figure out who your audience is, who you want it. So I would say before you invest in anything like that, I would probably wait 2 to 3 years to understand yourself and what you want to do and how you want to market yourself. Some people start off and they already have an audience, and that's a lot easier because maybe you have the network that you need to be able to sell. That's a little different. But if you don't have an audience, I would kind of figure out who you are and what you want to promote before you start investing in anything.
Yeah, and I'm gonna bring in Nicole's question that she actually just asked regarding if you haven't done much traveling, what kind of photos would you use on your social? 100% lean on your preferred suppliers. If you don't have them, after you get off this call, start writing down what your niche is and find out who those preferred suppliers are, whether they're tour operators, DMCs, cruise lines, your host agency, franchise, consortia, doesn't matter who you are affiliated with. Reach out to them because they have stock photos for literally anything you can imagine. And a lot of times they even have pre-social media packs that you can just steal and post and run off with. So just because you haven't personally been there doesn't mean you don't have access to those kinds of things.
Yeah, that's such a great point. The amount of times that we see our advisors posting or sharing photos from other people that have been on FAMs of really poorly lit hotel rooms, really bad angles on a cruise ship. Don't use those photos. If you're going to pick one photo to use for social media, I mean, for sure, don't always use manufactured photos. I don't think that's what we're saying at all. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for some content to promote a destination or a resort or a hotel, you haven't been there, use your supplier partners. They have it all. They've paid the big bucks for it.
That's perfect. And a lot of them, you can just go onto the portal. They have a marketing tab or whatever it is that you're looking for. There's flyers. A lot of them you can actually print out, and you can put your business name and print them out, and you can even do in person. You can go to events and pass them out, but definitely take advantage, like they said, of your BDMs or your suppliers.
Yeah,
And
I know.
I will, good.
Oh, nope. Go ahead. Go for it.
All right, I was just going to say, as far as another resource for you guys too, is if you guys haven't traveled many places, the reality is what happened over the last 2 years, these suppliers want business back. They want to partner with you. They really want to work with the advisor community. So what that means is reach out to them. Don't be afraid to get on a fam trip. You shouldn't be in this industry because all you're looking for is cheap travel, But the reality is we do have access to some of those opportunities so that you can experience a destination, so that you can better hone in on the market of what you're actually targeting. Because if you don't know what an all-inclusive resort feels like or is like, go there, experience it, and then come back and say, you know what, this is exactly the type of clientele I want to start working with.
I would agree. If there was ever a time to enter the industry, it's right now. I've never seen so many opportunities to travel. Figure out what you want to sell, reach out to those BDMs, see what opportunities there are before you, and take it. And then also when you go, take tons of photos. And then also on your social media as you're traveling, promote, whether it's Facebook stories, whether it's Instagram, whatever it is, just continuously promote travel. And that is free, right? You're going on a trip. You don't have to pay anybody for those pictures. And even though you can go to these portals and get these free marketing, they have free marketing tools. There's nothing more than people seeing you experience travel. And that's how they know that you're professional, because you can give them advice, personal advice through experience.
And if you're going to post something from travel, I saw a question here about YouTube. Take a video of your room, your cabin, upload that to YouTube with the resort and room number or cabin number on your cruise ship. Because when people are ready to book a trip or they've already booked a trip, they're going to be going on to Google. They're going to say cabin 2153 on Celebrity Edge, and they're going to hopefully come to your page. So that's a great opportunity. Just take a video, but make sure you're in it. Make sure you let people know who you are. Don't just take a random video, then people don't have any association with you or your agency, because then it's not going to feel authentic, and people aren't going to, you're not marketing at that point in time. You're just giving information. You want people to know why you're showing this video, and that they can get more information by calling you or emailing me, at least. Not calling me. Don't call me. Just email.
Yeah, no calling.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I love that. I was going to say that too. There's a lot of people that, or I've heard of agents when they'll go on a FAM, and literally it sounds like a dream trip. They just are there to take photos and videos and get as much information as they can. How cool is that? It's really cool.
Pretty great.
But I know. The other thing though that I was thinking about was just especially right now with just constant changes and stuff, but for in the good direction at this point for the most part. But travel industry updates, like if you subscribe to like Travel Market Report and just resources like that, because I know that can be really helpful too, to have like posts like, oh, this just opened, you no longer have to take a test to get in this country, or like those are huge. That's showing your value too. So want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Something I've seen done.
That's actually a really good idea, Stephanie. And a lot of people, what they do is they use those trends, they use those magazines, and they post it. And that's what keeps you relevant. That is content. There's free content everywhere. It's where you want to take advantage of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, look at, okay. So we have 9 minutes left. So the last thing I have, so I'm just going to try to encompass everything that we talked about, because there's a lot of really, really great stuff. But the one thing that I want to end with is ask each of you just to share, like, what are your parting thoughts? But also, I feel like sometimes people can get really overwhelmed with marketing because there's so many directions you can take. So what would be your final parting thoughts? Because I know everyone is going to do amazing and great hands with this expert panel, but what would be your parting thoughts on if you're starting your marketing in your new travel business?
I can start this off. Whatever marketing approach you take, and whatever it is that fits your audience, set main goals and work yourself backwards. So start with we usually say a 3 to 5 year plan. That may be overwhelming, but at the worst, start with a 1 year plan. Set milestones, quarterly, monthly goals. Most importantly, be consistent. Consistency is actually more important than quality, because the quality will naturally improve through consistency. So just like Stephen said earlier, right? Do not reinvent the wheel. You don't have to. Rinse and repeat. Follow industry leaders, entrepreneurs for ideas. I have to do this, right? So Stephanie, what is this? What is this?
Oh, like the video, like YouTube videos?
TikTok. I mean,
TikTok.
Everybody's doing it, right? You can do anything you want. There is no limit. Do not be afraid, right? So just promote yourself. Find what works for you, what works for your audience, and just go with it.
TikTok dances is what she's saying. Everyone must go do that after this.
Perfect. I would say if there's one thing you should take home out of this whole entire thing, it's that after we get off of here, make sure everybody calls Ian because he loves phone calls.
Yeah, we're putting his, yep.
On silent. No.
No, but in reality, I would say the best thing for you guys, honestly, is create and develop a true marketing plan. If you guys are looking to partner up with these supplier partners that we've all been harping about, that they are out there and everything, if you want to go pick up a phone and call them, don't call them blindly. Have some idea of what you expect from that partnership. Tell them whether you're looking for clients, whether you're looking for marketing dollars, whether you're looking for some sort of social media packs, or even just advice about their product. Build your plan out and start making those contacts.
Yeah. And the last thing I would say is, if you do nothing else tomorrow, just start marketing. Put yourself out there. I know a lot of people, I've seen some questions, and my advisors say this all the time. Well, I haven't yet created my Facebook account or my Instagram account. That should be your first step. Just do that. Just create your accounts today, whether it's, and it probably is, it should be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. There's lots more there, but those are some of the ones that I would recommend to start off with. Just create those accounts and just do it. Nike says it, just do it. Just go out there and start, because the worst thing that can do is you could sit back and start thinking about a plan and get overwhelmed. And which is the whole point about these sessions. I think, Stephanie, is they're very practical and they're meant to give people ideas to start going and start moving forward. And, I will put in a plug for you and Travefy. There are some great tools out there that are really professional that take no time at all. So, you could just go ahead and start making yourself look different than that competitor down the street or that huge online mega conglomerate. You can be different, and all you have to do is just take a look at what that marketing message is going to be, but just make sure you just start.
Well, thanks. Did not tell him to say that. So thank you. That actually, it's very well for tomorrow's webinars. We will be discussing that kind of stuff, how to do the marketing. But this has been incredible. I just want to thank you so much to our panel again, Ian, Keisha, and Steven. This has been a really fun time. I know people at the beginning, they're like, what is she drinking? Well, I am drinking Red Bull, but it's not that. It's this panel is so energetic and full of great energy. So that's what it is. It's fun. It's a great time. But I just want to thank you all again. That wraps up day 2, day 1. Day 2 is tomorrow. Super crazy, but hopefully we see you all tomorrow. And thank you so much again, panel. I hope you enjoy a great rest of your day and have fun marketing. I think everyone feels pretty motivated to market at this point. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you,
Thanks, everyone.
Stephanie. Thank you, Travefy. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. See you guys.